Hello, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by. This time I'm coming at you with a video showcasing this really cool thing that if you've been a follower of my channel for years, I've mentioned many times over the past several years, because this is something that I grew up with and was actually my first video camera I ever owned. This is kind of a twofer video in a way, because it's not only showcasing the PXL or Fisher Price PXL 2000 video camera, but it's also showcasing the basically tripod adapter that my dad made probably in 1988, I would imagine 89, something like that. So that would enable you to, basically put the Fisher Price PXL 2000 video camera on a tripod. For those of you who don't know, I don't know if it depended on what package you bought, but in '88 I got the full-on package. The first time I got two of these in my life. The first time I got one of these was in 1988. We got the full-on package, which included the mini TV, the PXL 2000 video camera. It came with what they called a bipod, which was a plastic piece that you snap on to the bottom of the camera so you can stand it on a flat surface like a table or a desk or something like that. But the bipod wasn't enough, like for me, going outdoors or even indoors. You wanted to set up certain shots where there was no desk or a table, you're kind of screwed. So it was kind of like, in a perfect world, I wanted to be able to put this on a tripod, and my dad basically rigged up this piece of wood with these two things on either side to kind of hold it in there. So you can see on this side, obviously, that thingy screwed to the wood, and same on this side. So this is Fisher Price PXL 2000 video camera that they sold in the late 80s and early 90s. The one I got in 1988 unfortunately lasted a measly 2 years and ended up kicking the bucket in 1990, and this was my second one that I get in 1990, which lasted, obviously as long as it needed to, until I actually got my first real video camera in 1993. But this here shot a lot of my shorts I filmed with a buddy in 1991 and 92, and also documented just life that I shot in 1988 through, I guess, 92, I guess. And basically I'll show you some footage of what it looks like if you've never seen footage from a Fisher Price PXL 2000 video camera. It was basically meant to be a obviously a toy piece of crap, black and white video camera with a resolution of probably like 1 or 2p, maybe even half of 1. I'm not exactly sure what the resolution was, but the crappy resolution actually was really cool for low budget videos, because the resolution was so bad. Really crappy things would look really good, and you could tie fishing line to things and dangle things in front of the camera, and because the resolution was so shitty, you couldn't see the fishing line, so you could have things just float in the camera. So the crappy resolution was really came in handy when we were making just little kiddie home movies and shorts and things like that. So there was a benefit to the crappy resolution. But as I was trying to say, this was supposed to more or less be used with an audio cassette, depending on which package you got. I would imagine you could get the tape separately. They actually sold official PXL 2000 cassettes that would basically audio tapes that you'd use in this camera. But I come to find out, well, you can use any audio tape. So I didn't, I stopped buying the official PXL 2000 audio tapes, because you could just use any audio tape with it. And basically it was really kind of cool. The video camera, this toy video camera, would actually record video, crappy, quote unquote video and audio on a basically any standard audio tape. The way it was able to do that is because the tape ran at such a high speed, it was able to record not only audio but some form of video on that audio tape. So obviously I can't remember exactly the lengths. If you had a 60-minute tape with 30 minutes of audio on each side, I think that meant, the tape went so fast, I think that meant maybe you only had maybe 10 minutes of video and audio, because the tape went so fast. So obviously I would end up wanting to get 90-minute cassettes, or the longest cassettes that were audio cassettes that were available to record on. That way you're recording the most on a tape with a longer tape, obviously. And basically I'll showcase here with a video clip of what it actually sounds like when you use it, how you're supposed to use it, how it was made to be used with the actual recording on the actual audio cassette in the camera itself. As you'll hear, it's very, very loud. The camera itself running is very, very loud, and pretty much louder than anything else that's going on the screen. So here's a demonstration of actually recording on an audio tape with the Fisher-Price PXL 2000 video camera.
No, we are not going to climb the tree. Okay. Damn, I can't get up with this. Is it supposed to make that funny noise?
Yeah, it's recording.
Can it hear us?
As you could tell, you're pretty much hearing the motor of the tape running, and you're lucky if you actually be able to hear any of the other stuff that's going on in the video that you're trying to capture. It wouldn't be too long after I got the video camera when I realized that, you know, I could just connect it to any VCR and just record directly onto VCR, bypassing the record onto audio tape feature that this camera was meant to be done by. So that's what I pretty much primarily did, is just hooked it up to the back of a VCR and just didn't run this camera, or at least the motor, the recording tape motor, and just recorded video and audio onto a VCR. That way you're not getting the annoying sound of this the motor actually running. And obviously I'll show you now a demonstration of what it was like to record a video, or what a video was like filmed with the Fisher-Price PXL 2000 video camera when you were filming directly onto the VCR rather than using the very loud, audio tape recording setup of the camera.
You know if your hand is bigger than your face, you have cancer?
Is it?
I don't know. Try.
Try what?
Go like this, see if you have cancer. It's true.
Oh shit!
That's a joke, I don't know.
Oh my god!
It hurts, doesn't it? It hurts, doesn't it?
You asshole!
Thank you very much.
Obviously there's a huge difference between recording with the camera and recording with a VCR, and even a really cooler note is if you happen to be recording on a hi-fi stereo VCR, it won't be stereo, the sound won't be stereo, but the sound will in fact be high fidelity. And if there were several instances where I just recorded live stuff going on in 92. I got my first hi-fi stereo VCR in 92, so in 92 I recorded some home just video stuff, just dinking around, whatever. There's the famous or not so famous video from the spring of 92 on this channel that is, basically, I think titled something like Pizza and Movie Talk, if you wanted to, watch that to get an idea, or longer form idea of what it was like to, or what the footage was like when you recorded directly onto VCR tape, or VHS tape rather, and also that recording was also recorded on a hi-fi stereo VCR. While the audio isn't in stereo, it is in hi-fi, and the microphone on this thing, actually, if you're recording directly on a VCR, especially if hi-fi stereo VCR, the mic is really, really good. And if you record onto hi-fi, VCR audio, hi-fi audio, the audio you're going to get is really, really going to be good. And I don't know if they had to make the microphones, so good to try to, offset the fact that the noise of the actual motor inside is so loud, possibly. But when you record directly on a VHS tape with this camera, especially on hi-fi, you'll find that the audio is actually pretty amazing for the toy clunky video camera that they were selling in the late 80s and early 90s. So this is it. You basically are supposed to pop in an audio cassette and push these two record buttons down, or whatever the hell it is, and flip this switch back here. That's like basically record, stop, record, stop. That's if you want to actually use the built-in tape function. As you can see, the over the years the buttons stopped clicking into place, so I think it was the two record buttons, so I had to tape them down with duct tape. In order to turn the camera on, you push these two buttons down. I would imagine it's some couple of record buttons or something like that, and they stopped, being able to be clicked down. So I had to duct tape them so they stayed down. The thing wouldn't. That was basically the on switch by putting those two down. So I had to tape them down, and then basically you've got to a power plug there and an audio video plug, audio video in one cable there, power plug, audio video, and I'd take this cable directly to the back of a VCR input and just make sure that this is turned on, which it always is because I duct taped it in place. Make sure this is flipped not to there because it'd run the tape. You got to make sure it's flipped up, and that way you can, you know, input the footage into a VCR and record directly onto the VCR. One thing we found out over the years is just by doing that, if the camera was on that way for so long a time or whatever, every now and then, I would imagine it was a designated time, but we never timed it out. I suppose I could do it on a recording that I have, one of many recordings that I have recorded on this thing over the years. But if you have it on and basically, you know, have this flipped up, you know, this switch is on and off. If you've got it on and switched to off, eventually if it's just sitting there, the thing will run as a way to kind of wind out the tape and then turn itself off. So every now and then through it, you know, through doing just recording home audio or this and that, it'd be a fairly common thing where you just be recording and all of a sudden this thing would start running, and not only running, but it'd be like beep, 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 just to let you know that, oops, you left your clunky piece of crap video camera on, I guess, kind of a reminder. It was also something that was actually kind of a pain in the ass because it, you know, if you had something in there, a tape or something that you recorded that you wanted to keep and the tape was in there, well, it actually starts recording. So sometimes it would record over things you wanted to keep. So eventually I just basically stopped putting a tape in there and just pushed the button up on top to make it think like it's got a tape in there. So there's actually not a tape in there. So if you just left this on overnight and without a tape in there and, you know, forgot you left it on and started beeping, it'd just beep all night until someone was there to basically, the famous thing would be to do this, flip that down and flip it back up to reset it when you're recording directly into a VCR and it starts recording on its own. But this little viewfinder is kind of a half-ass viewfinder. Obviously you're not looking through the actual lens, which was, this is the recording lens. You're just basically looking on top to get a basic idea of where to shoot. So if you, obviously the closer the object was, the more it would be, if you're looking through the viewfinder, the camera would be tilting down. So obviously I'm recording directly to a VCR in most of my PXL 2000 video camera, you know, days and years, so you'd be looking at the TV, not looking through this. This would just be to look through on, if you're, you know, if you're on scene recording on the crappy audio cassette itself. So as I've already said, my dad was kind enough and had the, I guess, carpentry skills or gadgetry skills or creative skills enough to know how to basically, you know, make this little contraption here, kind of a you know, PXL 2000 video camera holder to sit on top of a standard tripod situation, which is something that, I mean, I would imagine other PXL 2000 video camera owners probably did something like that, but I would imagine this is kind of a rare situation to, you know, that someone basically built themselves to make this work on a tripod. But very, very cool. For a while I didn't know where this stuff was. I recently came across it. Once again, I'll just show you a little bit more detail. The basically tripod adapter, if you will. It's just a piece of wood, 2x4, that my dad carved out in a really kind of cool fashion. As you can see here, the back of the video camera has this kind of a slope there. My dad even kind of carved a kind of a slope there, and we ended up putting this block here. Otherwise, it kind of, we found out that it kind of slide down, so this block was a way to stop the front of the camera, keep it in position. And as you can see, these two little pieces here were just a couple of things that were screwed into place with these screws there, which would hold the camera upright. And as you can kind of tell, when you put the camera down into position here, it's definitely a snug fit. This front of the camera resting on the front block there, and the back kind of resting on the slope, and then it becomes just a video camera that you can mount onto any standard tripod. Also with the screw coming out the bottom of the wood piece, obviously, and going into the tripod, you can mount this PXL 2000 tripod mount onto any tripod, and you're good to go with your frickin' horrible resolution Fisher Price video footage, preferably shot directly and recorded directly onto a VCR. Guess that pretty much does it for my showcasing of not only the Fisher Price PXL 2000 video camera from the late 80s, early 90s, but also the little adapter thing my dad made for me to be able to use this video camera with any standard tripod. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks a lot for watching, and as always, we'll catch you on the next one.
Okay.
So keep it ready to go. So now go.
These people will hop on.
Oh, there's some more coons there. Cocoon. What should I see? Is it outside view?
It's inside. Oh. Don't push it out of the way. That screws it up. Trust me, I know.
So, oh, it's for keeping it there.
Okay. See if it will hop on my finger. Here, take. Can't smush the little coon. How do I do this? Let's see. Here, you're ready to go now. Oh, that's the butterfly on my